Hello and welcome to Atlantic Video View. Hello and welcome to the East Lancashire Railway and our views of the track laying in spring 2021. The section of track under repair stretches from Alderbottom Viaduct, seen here passing over the picturesque River Irwell and adjacent to the line which went to Helmshaw. From the red sign here, going northwards, a long section of track was replaced, and as we can see, this section of track curves to the right hand side. The north part finishes adjacent to the viaduct at Irwell Vale, which then heads off to Helmshaw and Accrington. Railway wheels stay on the railway line because they have a flange. The flange is on the inside of the wheel. And as we can see here, when the wheel goes along, it wears against the inside of the rail and gives you the curve that you can see here. What we want to do is to swap that curve to the outside of the rail, seen here. Over time, steel rail set into cast iron chairs begins to corrode, and you can see that the chair has bit into the rail by several millimetres. On the inside, this means that a gap is created. In effect, the two lines are beginning to part. Where the rail sits on the chair, there is also a modicum of corrosion, seen here on the base of the rail. Throughout January, February, March and into April, the freight trains travelled all the way up past Ramsbottom, where a possession was taken. This is to prevent any accidents. Our train actually stops with its flatbeds with the sleepers on, seen here, and we use the JCB to take the sleepers onward up to where the work is being undertaken. The more robust concrete sleepers are being used to replace the life-expired wooden sleepers we can see here. Our train stops short of the working area. This is to allow the JCB to offload the sleepers and then take them directly up to the working face. There's not enough room up at the working face for the JCB to be able to reverse out. With the sleepers up at the working face, we have a rather wonderful machine here which is capable of literally picking the sleepers up, taking them down to where they're needed and placing them precisely in the right position. This is also useful in terms of being able to pick the rail up, and as you can see here with our operator, this is quite dexterous indeed. The rail then is precisely set over the sleepers, ready for them to be secured to the chairs. With both rails in place, we can now nudge the sleepers precisely so that the chairs are underneath the rail and start setting the pins. The track is isolated from the concrete by a rubber plate and a nylon insulator. The pan drill clip is then placed onto the track and it is pulled in by this special tool. And as we can see here, the progress to the 12th of January was excellent. In order to put new track down, you have to remove the old track, and there was a small party up here by the 15¼ mile marker who were lifting all the pegs using the special tool. These secure the rail to the wooden sleepers, as you can see, and around the corner there was plenty to go at. Onward to the 31st of January, and we can see that we were already taking ballast ready for stockpiling adjacent to our hoppers here at Ramsbottom Sidings. And our views from the old Haslingden branch give you a good idea of how far we've actually come in this short 4-week period and how much work has been achieved by our stalwarts of the Permanent Way Gang. found yourself sitting at home doing nothing recently? If you fancy a challenge, the East Lancashire Railway Permanent Way crew would welcome you here to help us lay our future onwards to Rawtenstall. Please contact the East Lancashire Railway on the following phone number. Passing onward to the 14th of February, our train had been up on the new track, and we can see that ballast had been laid on the side and in between the newly laid concrete sleepers. What needs to happen now is what's called lifting and tamping, where the rails are brought to the correct height for travelling around the corner. And on this famous Sunday morning, it's possible to see that we were 1.5 to 2 track sections away from the line, which then takes us all the way on to Rawtenstall. Our bird's eye view from about the 15.25 mile marker shows the beginning on the river bridge, and as we pan round to the left hand side here, you'll be able to pick up the last section of track on the 14th of February. Unable to resist the temptation, our cameras visited on the 17th of February, and sure enough you can see here that the last 2 sections of track had been fitted and were just awaiting the joining up to the existing rail which takes us on to Irwell Vale. With the track in place, it was now a question of getting sufficient ballast here to be able to bulk up the track and make sure everything was safe and sound. 30 sections of track, 720 concrete sleepers, 2,880 pandrel clips, over 1,800 feet of track. That is great thanks to the members of the Permanent Way team. By the end of February, and things were getting really technical. Joining these 2 pieces of track together is really not that simple. There's obviously the levelling up which needs to be done. This is called jacking and packing, just to get it to the right camber for the curve, and in order to be able to keep the sleepers in the right position, we have of course the ballast trains, those 3 wagons that we saw. Here they are in action halfway down the track, and I can tell you it really doesn't take long to release that much ballast. At the joint, our men were working away ardently at what needed doing here, and as you'll see, this involves some considerable lifting of the wooden sleeper section to bring it into a slope back down towards Irwell Vale. Our 3 wagons returned to Alderbottom sidings, which is where we loaded all the ballast for this section of track. Onward to the 13th of March, and as you can see we'd come quite a ways with the ballast. The tracks themselves had all the clips put in, and they were now at the right camber and right distance apart. This is quite a complex challenge really, not as easy as it sounds. The ballasting was in the centre of the track, and there were 2 piles on either side of the track to stop it from moving. Let's take a look from our vantage point. Looking back towards Alderbottom Viaduct, we can see where the track has been laid, where the old sleepers have been lifted and laid aside. The ballast has come along almost up to our marker post, and as we spin round you can see that it's actually heading off towards the Irwell Vale part of the railway line. Really not much more ballasting to do, which was great to see. The Irwell Valley Sculpture Trail shows us the Remnant Kings, a rather nice piece of artistry which overlooks the lines that we just completed. From the opposite side of the track on the Helmshaw branch, you actually get to see over Lumb Village this rather beautiful Lumb Viaduct, which is one of the major structures which stopped us from getting the line to go to Ramsbottom when we were at Helmshaw. It's been renovated now, however, and has this beautiful plaque on it. W55001 acted as our litter train, taking personnel up and down the line, and that included our board of directors, who ran up the line in 001 to make sure that everything was in fine fettle, ready for reopening. By the end of March, our ballasting was complete on both sides of the sleepers, and as we can see down the middle here. And our view from the 15.25 mile post of our completed section looked like this. The technical work towards the Irwell Vale end of the section, where the concrete sleepers join the wooden sleepers, have been well fettled by our permanent way crew. They went from the sturdy concrete sleepers onto the less sturdy wooden sleepers, and this was a function of the chairs that are used. So every so often these more robust chairs have been fitted to the wooden sleepers, as we can see here. We've joined up the railway now, and the Flying Scotsman can have a straight run all the way to Rottenstall. But what we do need to do, of course, is to pick up these 720 wooden sleepers that are left at the side of the railway. The laying of this section of track and this video has obviously taken the best part of 3 months to make. The morale boost that seeing this work being done has given to all members of the East Lancashire Railway is just incredible. But it's important that we say a very big thank you to one and all, from top management to the best fettlers in the industry. Thank you from Atlantic Video View.